They are places where the primal forces of nature and artificial invention meet, where the Earth horizon, the big star, and human architecture interact to dish out beauty. Yet, these very interactions can draw a reflection of human failures with terrible consequences. For about 122 years, a city 488 kilometers northwest of the Indian Ocean has been growing exponentially. Experts say Nairobi is rapidly getting out of balance, and within a population struggling to move with efficiency. Welcome to a series that takes you to the heart of Kenya and reveals the inner workings of the capital like never seen before. We are going on quite a journey. We are going to discover the habits and changes that only become visible through a keen eye. Using aerial photography and infographics, we will reveal Nairobi's changing landscape.
This city is so beautiful. In Africa, we are recognized, and we want to make it reliable in every way.
Talk of buildings, roads, railway lines, and of course, workers that keep the wheel turning. When I first came to Nairobi 16 years ago, things were a little bit different. People were not as many as today. Over 4 million people now live in the Kenyan capital. Every weekday morning, the city's population increases by over 1 million commuters. This rapid influx in people is creating opportunities, but to a larger extent, it's creating challenges. And nowhere does these challenges loom larger than on Thika highway. It's evening hours, and thousands of matatus are transporting millions of passengers out of Nairobi's business hub, the CBD. Dark clouds are hovering. It's about to rain. And so getting out of the CBD will just be half the hassle. Now they have to deal with this. The highway ran a buffet of colors, with passenger vehicles competing for spaces with thousands of cars and trucks. The word gridlock best describes the situation here. It looks like no one is going anywhere. These shallow rains have made the traffic battle even bigger.
In the next 5 years, if we are to continue this way, we will be having no movement at all.
A look beneath Nairobi skyscrapers draw a picture of a city on expansion. Experts say the number of hardworking commuters is also increasing. This is a snapshot of Thika Highway before it was constructed afresh, and here is what it looks like in 2021. A busy 50-kilometer stretch that has 10 lanes and in some places 12. A legacy of Kenya's third president, Emilio Mwai Kibaki, the construction of the highway was to cure a perennial problem: traffic snarl-ups. But it never did.
If you take, say, the way we planned Nairobi city in the last 40 years, it's wanting. Because some of the things we are saying should have been there in the first place.
Lured by a promise of open lands just on the city edges, some city dwellers have been building homes in spaces between Nairobi and neighboring towns like Ruiru, Thika, and Kiambu. An increase in population in these areas straining services on the city artery. And the number of passengers keep going up with each passing year. It's a pattern you will see across the city. The government says the problem is the increasing number of people using private cars. To reverse that, it wants to lure many back to public transport.
People should leave their vehicles at home in future, decongest the city of Nairobi. We shall have specific buses for children, so that people do not have to crisscross the city from one side to the other, taking their kids to school. That way you see a lot of development in terms of easing the movement of people.
It's 9 p.m. and the evening commute is winding up. Kenya's major highway has endured another rush hour. Many have made it to their destinations an hour before curfew begins. The travel restriction is in place to curtail the spread of COVID-19 viruses that continues to kill millions across the globe. Kenya's transport system might be outdated, but without it, this booming metropolis will come to a standstill.
You can see Nairobi, if we removed street parking. It's so wide. They're about how many lanes? Should be about 5 or 6 lanes. Let's look at Moi Avenue. It's wide.
The government says it wants to go modern, mass transit, and Thika Highway will serve as the launching pad.
The idea was to know which line are we going to take, but also align now that with the other agencies, like Kenya National Highways, because we have to do stations to make sure that people on one side of the road can go to the other side of the road without an issue.
Slightly over 2 million passengers and approximately 123,000 vehicles ply this highway daily. Even the slightest mistake can bring everything to a halt. It's unreliable, an infrastructure that simply cannot cope. Drivers end up spending hours of their time sitting in traffic congestion, resulting in loss of productivity, time away from family and friends, wasted resources, and reduced quality of life. The government first mooted the idea of a bus rapid transit in 2018. Red markings were made along the highway to indicate the lane dedicated for BRT buses. It promised to have the system in place by mid-2019. The promise was never kept, and the markings have since faded away. But according to the ministry, BRT is an idea whose time has come, and nothing can stop the government from achieving it.
So very soon you start seeing the construction of those stations, which then will allow us now to dedicate certain lines for BRT.
BRT is a high-quality paced transit system that delivers fast, comfortable, and reliable services. It will include several distinctive features, making it more efficient than the traditional matatu system. Dedicated travel lanes will make BRT buses faster and reliable. Traffic signals will be giving priority to BRT, reducing the chances of buses having to stop at junctions. This will allow them to move thousands of passengers per hour. The BRT system will integrate railway and feeder lines.
And you can see, for example, when we started doing these link roads to decongest the city of Nairobi, like the Gong Road, for example, coming all the way from here at Nairobi all the way to Karen, we are actually making sure we make those provisions. If it's about the express highway, we are doing the same thing.
To achieve all this, proper infrastructure must be put in place. Along the busy artery, engineers are transforming footbridges into median stations. This was on the 9th of February 2021, and the BRT station was taking shape at the Safari Park Kasarani footbridge. These special stations will ensure transfers between BRT and other modes of transport are easier. People will be coming in through bridges before descending into the stations via ladders. These stations will have elevated floors to ensure earth-level boarding that allows quick and easy boarding for all passengers, including those using strollers, wheelchairs, and other mobility devices. Engineers here tell me that this will include benches, sheds, and other amenities. Off-board fare collection areas will expedite the fare collection exercises. Real-time information will be displayed in the stations to tell passengers when to expect the next bus. Adjacent to Kasarani Sports Center, the construction of a park and ride station is going on. Bicycle racks and parking spaces will be demarcated here.
Park and ride is a great thing. You go to any city in the world, you go to New York, you'll find a place where you'll park your vehicle, take a train to where you want to go to. Park and ride is going to decongest the city. It will remove vehicles, the number of vehicles that would have reached the city, and it will also be it will be very economical for a user, because where you park and ride, the fee would not be as much as what you would have paid for the city, and then when you park, it will bring you straight to the city. Then you get to the office at the speed, at the time that you would require, and it would also save money, because when you are held up in traffic, it will save man hours. I mean, you will save a lot of money because of, in fuel and where you want to go, and also stress. The stress levels at traffic is so high. But when you have an express lane that will take you to your place of work, you're better off than a person who's stuck in traffic.
Bus depots will be located at the end of the BRT, one being in the areas around the Kenyatta National Hospital. It will ensure buses do not travel without passengers at the beginning or at the end of the journey.
All those will help us in terms of decongesting.
Environmentalists have something to smile about. BRT reduces global and local emissions, less air pollution, less noise. Matatu madness and bad behaviors exhibited by operators in Kenya's informal transport system, like being portrayed here, will be a thing of the past.